Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so the score was 135-119. The Lakers fall to the Houston Rockets. Bron, AD, and D'Lo all had 23 points. Oh my God, man. Jalen Green had 34 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists. Alperen Sengun had 31 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists. Cam Whitmore had 20 points. What else? I think Jabari Smith walked out of there, I think 18 points or something like that. Austin had a bad game. I forgot what his stats were, but it wasn't very good. D'Lo was 3 for 12 from behind the arc. Definitely not good on 41 minutes of play. And Vanderbilt got kicked out of the game early on a really, really bonehead situation where he got the first tech after pushing Dylan Brooks in a situation where he was retaliating, in my opinion, for a play where Dylan Brooks hit him while he was in midair. They didn't call the flagrant. And on the following play, that's when he did this. And then they called the first tee on him, pushing him. And I guess Dylan probably said something to him, and he slapped Dylan on the back of the head. And they kicked him out with the second one. That was early in the game. So we didn't have Vando out there. And, Lakers shot about 33% from the three, 46% from the field or something like that. Rockets shot just a little bit better than that from each of those spots. Above 50 and above 37, I believe it was. We got out-rebounded by 20 boards. They had more fast break points than us, significantly more. I think it was like 68-50 or something like that on in the interior points in the paint, rather. It was just a very, very bad night for the Lakers to go up against a team like this, especially off of a double overtime win in Golden State. And then to have to go up against these athletic guys. Cam Whitmore was awesome in that second quarter. 20 points, 16 of them he had in that first half, like 16 straight points or something like that. It was unbelievable how much velocity he was putting on the rim and how much pressure he put on our defense to try to keep up with him, for which we could not. I can't tell you how many times people were running past Austin and Torian. It was unbelievable how flat-footed those two particularly looked defensively. It was embarrassing. Honestly, it was embarrassing. LeBron James looked pretty good for the most part. I thought he had a pretty good game. They had a little situation where, somebody had hit him in the. I think it was Dylan Brooks who had hit LeBron in the face at the end of the game. We tried to get a flagrant out of it, and we were able to. Jackson Hayes needs to be given some credits. He was given a lot of minutes since we sat AD in the second half of this basketball game when it looked like it was over. We went down as much as 30 and cut it to 10 with like 5 minutes to go, but couldn't get past that. But I thought Jackson did some pretty good things. Dunking the ball and stuff. This was probably the best game he's had all year. I thought Rui was pretty good, even though it was a quiet night for the most part. I thought with what I saw him do, I was fine with. And like I said, AD only played limited minutes. And, he was missing Chippy sort of like he was in the second half of the Golden State game. That kind of carried over. It was not his greatest night. In fact, a good portion of what went wrong in the first quarter was him missing shots. So, now that I got all the stats out the way, I want to get into who I blame for what I saw tonight, because I told you guys in the halftime video that I wanted to get into blame. This is a blame game type of thing. First of all, for what happened to Vanderbilt, I blame Kenyon Martin. Yes, Kenyon Martin. Kenyon Martin went on Gilbert Arenas today, his Gil's Arena, and laid into Vanderbilt in a vicious way, called him all kinds of words that I would not repeat here, because he was trying to get Draymond Green thrown out of the previous game when Draymond hit, I believe it was AD. And no, I don't remember who he hit in the face at this moment, but he hit somebody in the face. And as we know, Draymond is somebody who, if he gets any more technicals, he's probably going to have this, if he has any more incidents that are considered ridiculous, kicks out the game or what have you, he'll likely be suspended for the rest of the year. And Kenyon Martin took exception to Vanderbilt doing the flagrant, take a look at that type of thing. If you remember in that game, if you watch that game, So did Draymond Green too. He kind of taunted or mocked, I should say, Vanderbilt in doing the spin rotation. Take a look at that hand signal that the refs often do. In response to Vanderbilt saying that they should take a look at what the hit was that he hit. I think it was on Bron. He might have hit him in the face, or AD. Might have been AD in the face. And so Kenyon Martin said some things that I think Vanderbilt would have taken major exception to. And if he saw that, or someone sent him the clip, that would have left him a little on edge today, if not a lot on edge. If you listen to how colorful and how demonstrative Kenyon Martin was about getting on Vando for doing so, and the words and the choices of words that were used, you can understand why Vando came into this game with a little more chip on the shoulder toward anybody that was coming at him. Fighting words, more or less, is what Kenyon proceeded to say on that program. So I already knew, after seeing that and listening to Kenyon Martin say those choice language the way that he did, I had a feeling that Vanderbilt, if he got a hold of that information or saw the clip, would likely have a different vibe about him tonight than any other night. And we saw that play out exactly that way. Dillon Brooks got into it. Now he's doing stuff out of character. He would have never did that, in my opinion, if Kenyon would not have been so very disrespectful with his wordplay. I'm just being honest. So that's the first person I want to blame is Kenyon Martin. The second person I want to blame is Jared Vanderbilt. You got to hold your head. You got to keep your composure, bro. You know we can't guard this team. You know our team is exhausted. We got old men. We got flat-footed guys that have no athleticism. We're going up against the most athletic team, arguably, in all of basketball. You were the only person out there who can really keep up with most of them dudes defensively. There is no way you get thrown out of this game. You got to know that Dillon Brooks probably saw that information. He probably saw it too, just like I did, and knew how to press your buttons tonight. He knew his team needed you off the floor to have an easy night, because if you were on the floor, you could be disruptive. But if you're off the floor, we have nobody who could stay in front of them athletes. Dillon knows all of this. And he got in your head. He pressed the right buttons. And he was never on the verge of losing his composure, but he knew you were. And that's what we saw tonight. He effectively removed Vanderbilt from the game. So I blame Jared Vanderbilt a great deal for what went wrong out here tonight, because if he would have been on the floor, the game could have been a lot closer. A lot closer. So he definitely is someone I blame tonight. Another person I want to blame tonight is Rob Pelinka. I want to blame Rob Pelinka tonight. I haven't gotten on Rob Pelinka's case in a long time, and this isn't a new mistake. This is the same mistake that we talked about on draft night. You do not pass on Cam Whitmore if you're the Los Angeles Lakers and you have the athleticism issues that we have. Last year, we had Russell Westbrook on our team, and he put a lot of pressure on the rim. And as we put together this team, I was telling you guys, the one thing that I could see that's wrong with this team is the fact that we don't have a whole lot of athleticism, and we have young people relying upon one another. But specifically, no athleticism. Outside of LeBron James, he would need to make up for what Schroeder's going to be leaving in regards to putting pressure on the rim. Russell Westbrook put pressure on the rim. Lonnie Walker put pressure on the rim. We don't have none of them dudes on this team this year. And you went and drafted one of the most unathletic players in the range, Jalen Hood-Schifino, who wasn't nowhere near ready to help you, over Cam Whitmore, who was the 5th overall best prospect, arguably, in the whole draft. The entire league decided they wanted to pass on him. We needed not to for a plethora of reasons. One being Bron leaving and him potentially being his replacement. Second being the athleticism and the overall need that we now know we have to have that type of athleticism. And third, it's because we don't have many picks. Our first round picks have all been mortgaged over the last several years, and this was the one we were going to get in between 2 years from which we wouldn't. And he took Jalen Hood-Schifino over the 5th overall best prospect in the game, who happened in the draft, who happened to fall to us on some fluky nonsense. And this GM just took Jalen. And Jalen's not going to help us for another 4 years. And when he does help us in 4 years, he ain't going to do none of the stuff that we needed him to do tonight, for which Cam Whitmore made us pay for. And I can guarantee will make us pay for the next 7 to 8 years. Not only that, but because of that stupid decision, we allowed Cam Whitmore to fall to a team that already had 2 of the most athletic players in basketball outright. And Amen Thompson, who they took in that same draft, and Jalen Green, who went off for 34 points, 12 rebounds, and 7 assists tonight. You do not let one of your future rivals get that type of talent with this 20th overall damn pick, because you make sure you take him off the board at 17. So that is why I'm blaming Rob Pelinka tonight. I told all of you guys, nobody should have left Cam Whitmore. Cam Whitmore shouldn't have fallen past 6, y'all. None of them teams had a better prospect than Cam Whitmore in any of the picks that they picked up until that point. I'm sorry. I know people like Jaime Hawkins. There is a very, very distant separation between those two players. And I know a lot of people ain't going to agree with me. I don't care. It was proven tonight. You can see it. He's not Jalen Hood-Schifino, Jaime Hawkins, none of them dudes can do what Cam Whitmore can do on a basketball floor, because you can't teach athleticism, power, strength, and velocity. And that, my friends, is something we absolutely did not value. We let the herd mentality of, why is he passing him up? I don't know, but I ain't going to be the one to catch the falling knife. Bull crap mentality keep us from getting the 5th overall pick in the draft at 17. Value for which we absolutely need, with LeBron James potentially walking this upcoming offseason, and coupling that with all the other crap that we got that ain't worth a goddamn. Okay? So that is what I want to say. Rob Pelinka, egg on your face, man. You're going to have to pay for that. We're going to be calling this out for the rest of Cam's career, because there ain't no way in hell this pick about to turn into anything that would have been better than what that kid was tonight. Because you're probably going to trade Jalen Hood-Schifino right now for some role player who can help us. Probably not as much as Jalen Hood-Schifino, as Cam Whitmore would have. Going to trade him for somebody that you probably want, like Bruce Brown, who Cam Whitmore is going to turn out to be better than any damn way. Let's just be clear about that. So, Rob Pelinka, man, I ain't happy with you tonight. So, yeah, that's one person I'm blaming. The next person I want to blame tonight is Darvin Ham, man. I think the Lakers got out to a slow start tonight, and I think he compounded Jared Vanderbilt's frustrations, for which were already on 10, if he had any indication of what Kenyon Martin said. He made it even worse by starting Taurean Prince in this game. As I told you guys more than once tonight, we could not guard this athletic team without Jared Vanderbilt. But we especially could not guard this team with Taurean Prince. Vanderbilt proved to everybody in the last game against Golden State why he should be starting, especially if you're going to have a lineup with D'Lo and Austin in it. Those guys have trouble guarding, especially Austin. You need somebody down there who can help. This is a spiel I've been talking about. We've been talking about this all year, man. Other analysts have been talking about this. You cannot put Taurean Prince next to those two and expect to have any success. Taurean Prince is a limited basketball player in a lot of ways that really, really hurt that circumstance. When you have a non-athletic backcourt that can't defend on top of it, you need somebody who can defend and who is athletic at your 3 spot, because you're not moving AD and Bron in any way, shape, or form. They're going to be the mainstay, so you need that third piece next to those guys capable of doing what Vando does very best. But our coach is hard-headed. And as a result, he started Taurean Prince, and what that trickled down to was an early lead that we never actually overcame. We started off slow, just like we always did with his bad starting lineups to start the season. That's why at the beginning of the season, we were literally the worst first quarter team in the history of the sport. It's because this man always starts us off with his lineup that cannot effectively help us. And the mainstay, what that always revolves around, is Taurean Prince. It's been that way since day one of the season. Taurean Prince is the mainstay for all of the bane of the circumstances that got us off to being the worst first quarter team in basketball. That's what it was. It was always that piece. And if you remove that piece, we've seen it as recently as last night, you see how well the team plays. You saw it against Portland when Taurean couldn't play. How many more different dynamics the other players that had to fill in for Taurean were able to provide the lineups that we have? And you think our coach would provide us with the right tool going up against the most athletic basketball team that's half our damn age? No, he throws Taurean in there. And as a result, Taurean gives you 3 rebounds, 5 points, and 23 minutes of basketball play, and you lose by 1 trillion. This was something that we couldn't do against a Golden State team that ain't even that damn athletic. You definitely can't do that against Cam Whitmore, Amon Thompson, Jared Green, Alperen Sengun, Smith, all these young players, man. Absolutely not. And we knew this was going to go bad. When we saw the starting lineups come out tonight, everybody and their grandmama knew that this was going to go bad. Because you cannot have Austin and D'Lo in the front court, the back court to begin with one another, unless you have that piece. And if you don't have that piece, for which we didn't, you put Taurean Prince a limited basketball player who we really like and respect, but we know damn well he's not that good. You can't put him down there, bro, and expect anything less than what happened to you tonight. So Darvin Ham takes the rest of the blame there, man. He was awful. This is the worst decision tonight, putting Taurean Prince in this particular starting lineup on this particular day or any damn day. Now, if you have a different point guard or shooting guard, like a Bruce Brown or DeJounte Murray, then you can get away with Taurean Prince because that point guard can hold his weight defensively and athletically. But because you can't, you need that Vando piece. Our coach understands this. The evidence tells him this, and he betrays that. And as a result, he gets the results that come with it. This ain't rocket science, man. We've been seeing this now for almost half a season. But Darvin Ham is hard-headed, man. And as a result of him being hard-headed, we end up taking the worst of it as fans and the players, and everybody's rooting for the Lakers. They end up having to fall because of Darvin's decision to keep doing things that clearly play to the detriment of the basketball team, night in and night out. So this was just another example of such, man. Ain't nothing deeper than that. We saw the evidence in the last game. This was just him doubling down on what he wanted to do versus what it is the evidence told him, and he still got the same result. And what do they say about insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again. That's what it is. You're insane. So that's where we at, Darvin. Your insanity is costing us basketball games. And now we have a tied series with the Rockets team that we know damn well we don't want to see in the playoffs for the same damn reason. And now we may not have home court advantage if they happen to have a better record than us and we happen to see them. For which I doubt we will, because I have doubts we're going to even make the damn playoffs. D'Angelo Russell was overused tonight. Completely overused. You put him out there for 41 minutes, and this was the dynamic we had. Why? Because Vanderbilt had been thrown out of the game. So, of course, it was going to be a situation where you needed to amend that. You didn't have Cam Reddish, and so you left D'Lo and Austin out there to get cooked all damn night with Taurean Prince. Just stupid. You saw Max Christie play well tonight. His jump shot was falling, and as I told y'all in the Laker video earlier today I made, why don't we use Max at the 3 to try to be the de facto Vando? It could work. He could do some of those things Vando does, and he helps us even more so with the spacing of the floor so that you don't feel like you're losing that as much as you would with Vando. He can play that role, man. But Taurean Prince is going to have a hard time guarding anybody with any foot speed, man. He's going to have a hard time guarding anybody with any foot speed, and because of the fact that he's a deficient rebounder, you end up getting outboarded by 20 as well. Here's another thing I was not happy about in regards to Darvin Ham. And maybe, I will say this. Maybe the organization had this as a strategy because we do have a back-to-back tomorrow with Atlanta. So I want to temper what I'm going to say by saying if the organization told him to do this, I'll back off. But what did not look great to me was the fact that we had LeBron James on the floor in the fourth quarter, fighting his butt off, getting hit in the head and all different types of other stuff, and didn't put AD on the floor to help us bring the game home. You left Jackson Hayes on the floor tonight to play the center position when we had cut the game to 10 with like 4 minutes to go. At that point, AD needs to either come in to help us win the damn game, or you need to sub Bron out with that same logic in mind. So if this was an organizational thing to where we're going to sit LeBron tomorrow and play AD tomorrow, if that's how they did it, then so be it. That's my disclaimer. Otherwise, I did not see the logic in that tonight, man. I thought the logic completely escaped me for why we would risk LeBron's health out there to get us close, but not bring AD in to bring us home, or not sit both of them in that same mindset of keeping them fresh. Because you're not going to try to tell me that it makes sense to sit AD when the game is close. Nor are you going to try to tell me that in a game that you thought was over, it made sense to have LeBron out there running with the third unit. None of that makes any sense. And the last person I want to blame tonight is Jeanie Buss. You got to stop letting people do stuff like this. I'm just going to be honest. She has got to stop letting people play with her. Jalen Hood-Schifino ain't nowhere near as valuable as Cam Whitmore. That should have been Cam Whitmore, or we should have been trading down. If you're not going to take the best player available, you need to utilize my first round picks better. Period. Darvin Ham does not need this job anymore. He sucks at what he does. We're going to rip the Band-Aid off, and we're not going to be respectful because we're losing games and we're running out of time. He need to go. Okay? He got to go. I explained every reason why he needs to go for the last 20 videos of this season. He got to go. I would be very pleased if you fire him tomorrow morning. I'm done. After tonight's starting of Prince in this situation and then proceeding to let it go bad, we ended the game with 4 timeouts. We were down by as much as 30 points, and we ended the game with 4 timeouts. And for those who know the game of basketball, you know we should have utilized our timeouts when the bleeding started with some of those situations. He didn't use his, and that's why we had so many of them. He got to go, man. And also, and I'm going to say this and I'm going to mean it, in regards to Genie, if you're going to let LeBron James walk, if you're not going to shop LeBron James and he leaves, that's your fault. Because at the end of the day, he is telling you he's going to go play with his son. And he's telling you if you can't draft his son, he's willing to opt out to find a team that does and go there. He's worth entirely too much for that to happen. And with all of this ineptitude with the coach and the lack of athleticism on the floor to where we need certain players to play and others that can't just so we can be a functional basketball team, when you clearly see when you go up against a team like this, you cannot succeed. You let Cam Whitmore go, you pick the Jalen Hood-Schifino kid, you do all this different stuff that doesn't make us the best team we could possibly be, and then you're going to let half of our value walk out the door because of it, because he may not be pleased with it and because he wants to go play with his son. I am not accepting that as a fan. You got to trade LeBron James over the next week, or he could potentially risk walking out of here for nothing, and your team is going to suck like this for a long time. I don't want to trade LeBron James. I want him to stay, but this ain't about what I want. This is about what it looks like, and what it looks like is he ain't got no reason to stay here. No reason to stay here and every reason to leave. So if we're not going to utilize and capture that value from which he is in basketball currency, which is picks and players, this is malpractice. I'm not going to pull no punches. They don't pay me nothing to talk Lakers or none of that. I'm telling you as a fan, what I don't want to see is my team sucked for 7 years because we didn't have the nuts to do everything we needed to do to make our team absolutely as good as possible. And right now, with players that we have on this team not worth what they should, and coach being not good enough to help us win a championship, we need to utilize every resource we have to make sure that this does not get worse. And letting LeBron James enter free agency without capturing his value is something that I will not forgive Jeanie Buss for. Do you understand what I'm saying? I won't forgive you for this because we're going to suck for about 7 years because of that. You will not be able to make it up. You've already mortgaged too much. Anthony Davis is not going to garner that much in return because people are going to know you're going to need to trade him, so they're going to lowball you for him just like they do everything else with Laker tax. You've got enough people who hate this franchise in this league who are not going to help us with our rebuild, but they will pay full price for LeBron James. You got to trade that man. I'm telling you, you do. And that ain't coming from somebody who wants to trade him. This is coming from somebody who does not want to suck for the next 7 years. Okay? So that is the truth, man. It don't make me feel no better to say this. I wish this wasn't the circumstance, but I am not going to tell LeBron James, nor will I expect for him to respect me when I say, don't go play with your son, stay here with me and my mediocre basketball team as we continue to do stupid stuff that doesn't help ourselves. I'm not going to tell him that. I'm going to tell him to go play with his son and enjoy his life. You understand what I'm saying? And with that being said, meaning I need to cover my backside when that happens, and that in my mind means trading him and not leaving it up to him on whether or not he's going to take half of my damn value and scatter it off to somewhere else. Not going to let it happen. Salute the Kobe minute. So that's what I'm here to tell y'all, man. This was enough for me. This was enough. There's a lot of things that need to happen. And I got the nuts to do it. If I was in that front office, there'd be a lot of things changing tomorrow morning. People would be gone. And we will be resetting our situation and capturing the most value for what it is that we have, while simultaneously trying to make sure that Anthony Davis understands that we value him and want him to stay on a winning franchise. And I can't do that if half of my damn value walks out the door. People need to stop, look, and listen to what I'm saying, because for every dollar you think you're going to make off LeBron James for the rest of the season is every dollar you're going to lose if this team is trash and we got more Robert Sacres and Torian Princes running around because we didn't capture our value properly. It's bad enough we're drafting poorly when we have first-round picks. And letting bad coaches continue to run us into the ground by playing our stuff the wrong way. All right, I told y'all, this is blame night. Because our team ain't good enough to win a damn championship, and yet tonight was yet another example of why that is. Just because you beat a mediocre Golden State team who's just as old as you, and it took 2 overtimes to do it, do not let that be confused with you thinking you can win the NBA championship. They ain't good enough to win it. We ain't good enough to win it, and that's why we look so even. BDL 44, I thank you all for watching. I'm out.